for about 2 weeks, but it is hard to understate the significance of this or how much has changed in a year. Because remember, a year ago, people were talking about Andrew Cuomo replacing then candidate Joe Biden at the Democratic convention. Now he has resigned quite literally in disgrace on a number of topics. As it turns out, though, the New York governor's mansion is no stranger to disgrace and misconduct. In fact, the state's last 3 governors, all Democrats, left office amid scandal, including Andrew Cuomo's father, Mario Cuomo. And by the way, the governor, as well as the media and even the Hollywood establishment, used to love applauding Cuomo on his, you guessed it, leadership skills, especially during the pandemic. For example, his book cover, well, it has not aged well. American Crisis, Leadership Lessons from the COVID-19 Pandemic. Our next guest has direct knowledge of serving New York City during the pandemic, did so without the scandals that have beset Andrew Cuomo. Keith Powers is a councilman in the city of New York, represents the Upper East Side of Manhattan, clearly working late, 8:30 Eastern, still in the office tonight. Councilman, we appreciate you taking some time for us. It's got to be a sigh of relief for Democrats that you don't have to keep answering for Andrew Cuomo, isn't it?
Well, it's a massive sea change now in New York State as a result of what's happened today. And we're going to see repercussions from starting today with the new governor all the way through next year as we go into election season. I think for many New Yorkers, they've been talking about changes of leadership for quite some time. And obviously, since March, we've been talking about many of the incidents of folks who came forward, and we're thankful for all those people who came forward. But undoubtedly, right now is a mark in a new era in New York State politics that will lead to many changes, I think, ahead as we get into the next year, which is an election year in New York State.
Likely a lot of changes. If the top guy leaves, everybody moves up. You might have a new job. We may be interviewing the future mayor of New York. You never know. We may have changes. The questions I think also people are asking, are we going to have answers, especially about the nursing home deaths? This is from the New York Times. More than 172,000 residents and employees of nursing homes and long-term care facilities have died of complications of COVID-19 in the United States, according to a Times analysis. New York still leads all states in such deaths with more than 15,000 so far. And there's also reason to believe that the Cuomo administration covered up a lot of other deaths as well. Does his resignation mean that we don't get real answers into what happened in the nursing homes?
I think there's a lot of work that will remain to be done here, even in light of the resignation. And I think nursing homes might be one of them, where there's going to be a lot of New Yorkers and legislators in particular who are calling for accountability in terms of what happened in the nursing home. So I don't know that that particular investigation is going away. And also on some of the allegations that were in the report, we're seeing district attorneys take a look into them as well. So I don't think everything is done here, but I think certainly the resignation puts the impeachment proceedings into question, and I think certainly lightens some of the accountability that might have happened to the governor otherwise. But something like the nursing homes, I think there's certainly a lot of legislators who are still looking at that issue, still want answers, and feel like from COVID to accountability, there's still a lot to do here in the state, regardless of the impeachment. Of the resignation.
Well, yeah, resignation makes impeachment a moot point. But you made an important point about, this is a big deal, lots of change. For people who are not from New York and for whom Manhattan is not the epicenter of the world, those of us do exist in the world. We live in the flyover states. Explain to us, what does the fall of the Cuomo dynasty in New York mean? How big of a deal is it?
Sure. First of all, I welcome everybody to move to Manhattan, of course, on the east side of Manhattan. But it's a big deal. This is a major moment in New York State politics. It's not just a dynasty politics that's toppling here. It's somebody who's been governing our state for so long. And now we have not only an immediate new governor, we're going to see a lot of other folks start to move up, as you said earlier. So it's I think we're seeing a lot of sea change across the country where dynasty politics is ending anyway. But I think certainly here, I think New Yorkers are now looking for something different, looking for a change, and I think are ready to move on from this era. And I certainly can tell you that I think lots of the folks at the state level are ready to have a new partner to work with in the executive mansion.
It's hard to get more old school Democratic politics in New York than Andrew Cuomo. The next name that would come to mind would be Chuck Schumer. There is talk, and she hasn't ruled it out, of AOC making a primary bid against Schumer for 2022. Do you think Cuomo's resignation makes that more or less likely from your view on the ground?
I think Schumer is extremely popular. I'm very grateful for a lot of the work he's done in New York State. He delivered billions of dollars of relief to us, helped the average New Yorker, to the businesses, to Broadway. I worked with him on the reopening of our tourism here in New York City. I think New Yorkers are feeling that when it comes to Senator Schumer. So I feel pretty confident about his chances to be reelected under any scenario. I think this shakeup really will lead to lots of other folks moving around, and maybe folks who are in lower office looking for something higher. But I think there'll be enough vacancies here that people will be able to do a little bit of musical chairs versus looking to take other people out.
All right, Keith. Well, when you have an announcement to make, come back and do it here, all right?
If I have news, I'll make it with you. But today I'm here just serving my district, and I appreciate the opportunity.
And they're late at night, 8:45, burning the midnight oil. Thank you, sir. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Up next, COVID confusion? Yeah, me too. Any update on the fight